Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share an update on my experience with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S 8.4. This 8.4-inch Android tablet is priced at $399. It has an 8.4-inch 2560 by 1600 resolution Super AMOLED display, and that is the key feature of this brand new Tab S, both in the 8.4 as well as 10.5-inch version. And that's the reason I'm playing this video right now. We are at maximum brightness for this. I'll show you that right now. You can see that right there. And video playback, overall, every form of content that you're going to consume on this will inherently look better. This is another generation of display when compared to everything that came before it in both the 8.4 as well as 10.5 capacity. So when comparing this to the Tab 8.4 Pro, this easily outdoes that tablet, even though it shares so much in common with it. Keep in mind this tablet does have 3 gigs of RAM, unlike the Tab 8.4 Pro, which only has 2. But it does share a lot in common with the processor, although the software here out of the box is optimized even further. You're really getting the best experience Samsung currently has to offer in every aspect and regard. So definitely, without question, this is the best sub 10-inch tablet on the market right now, and that is, I would say, arguably because it has the best display. Some have commented on the Pentile display being a disadvantage when compared to the 10.5-inch version of this device. Personally, I do favor the 10.5-inch version, but that's more to do with the fact that I want the extra screen real estate. I can tell you easily this is the best display you will ever see on any sub 10-inch tablet, and because of the pixel density, and the fact that we're looking at a Super AMOLED, you can make the argument for the best display ever. So let me end the video right there. When it comes to multitasking, this octa-core, that is right, 8-core processor, 2 quad-core chips, does not disappoint, and the fact that the software has matured is really important. So if you want to browse the web simultaneously, split screen, you can easily do that, even though I just let the menu go right there. All you have to do is bring up both browsers, and I didn't have to use Chrome and the WebKit browser. I just did that to show you 2 different browsers running, and you can see it gives you a floating keyboard. Right now we're controlling the left side. You can see that blue outline of that window. So if I wanted to navigate to one website, pretty easily I can. And then this, I will navigate to ESPN. And you see we're getting desktop versions of these sites. Still waiting for ESPN to load here. And essentially, once you take possession of a window, it's clear which window you're in control of. The outline will always be there. This is not a new thing. You can resize windows, position them, do a variety of different things with them depending on your needs. This is part of the baked-in, I would say, positive. One of the positive elements that you get out of the TouchWiz Magazine UX overlay that Samsung incorporates into the Tab S lineup. Performance here is solid. And you'll see that basically no hesitation switching windows here at all, which is incredible considering where things began if you have been a longtime Samsung user. And overall, I can tell you that this display just makes everything look better. So all of the hardware is there that should be. Samsung has also integrated in a fingerprint scanner, much like we have with the Galaxy S5, a natural evolution, a carryover here into the tablet form in both the 8.4 as well as 10.5 varieties. So web browsing, not going to be a problem with this, nor is video playback. Productivity, also not going to be an issue because Samsung does include all of that Pro software. You're getting basically everything you could possibly need. And the fact that you have this best-in-class display and resolution, that 2560 by 1600 resolution in this form factor, it really is just a stunner from every angle. So it doesn't come up short in my estimation. It is expensive, but you really are getting what you pay for. And I don't consider corners cut here, even though there are a few things I would have liked to have seen, which I'll get to in a few moments. You do have a front-facing camera right there, which is rated at 2.1 megapixels, the same on the 10.5-inch version. and some physical buttons here down at the bottom, which you will inherently hit, but most Samsung users are already used to these physical buttons, which now at least adhere to what Google would like them to, which is back, home, and multitasking. And this tablet, again, is not going to have an issue with running a lot of different applications in the background. That's what the 3 gigs of RAM is there to handle, as well as that magazine UX overlay, because it is heavy. That is part of the Samsung experience, and if you do hate the TouchWiz overlay, you can easily replace it with a launcher of your personal preference. So keep that in mind. You will not be giving up any of the wide variety of features that Samsung brings to this tablet on the software side just because you're avoiding the launcher experience. In terms of software, they give you Home Office, basically everything that you already have come to expect: Remote PC, WebEx, S-Voice. You can unlock this tablet with your voice if you want to. The side sync is great for those of you that own Samsung phones. And the form factor here, it's so lightweight, so thin, and I do have to say I really do like the new color scheme. It is a vast improvement from days past. So right there in the top center, we have the micro SD card slot for storage expansion, the infrared blaster for turning this into a universal remote control with Samsung's included Watch On software, which works quite nicely, your volume rocker and power button right there, and that is what I would consider the top of the tablet. The problem with design is that the speakers are on the sides of the tablet and where I would consider the bottom, right there at my thumb. So you're inherently going to be hitting those speakers or covering them when holding the tablet, unless you flip this over and now have the power button and volume rocker and micro SD card slot at what I would consider the bottom of the tablet. But continuing the tour around the hardware, up here at the top, we have one of a pinhole right there other than the speaker that I was just showing. I assume that is a microphone. And then again, one of the 2 speakers. Audio quality is fairly solid, I have to say, for such a small, lightweight tablet. We have our 8 megapixel camera right there with LED flash, and then these buttons you see on right at my thumbs, respectively, are where you connect the book cover style case, which also has been redesigned and I think is superior to previous generations. On this side of the tablet, we have nothing except for that bronze bezel, which I think is an improvement over the silver one. Down at the bottom of the tablet, we have one of the areas where Samsung did cut a corner, unfortunately, and that is our charging port. That is a micro USB port. It should have been a USB 3.0. And that is a difference that some users will not care about. Some will not even be aware that there is a 3.0 standard out there, but any S5 owner or even previous gen tablet that does incorporate the 3.0 standard already will miss it, because you'll know that it charges faster as well as offers higher transfer rates in general. Also, we don't have any of the waterproofing that the Galaxy S5 phone carries, which is bizarre. You would think it would carry over, but I guess that's one of the areas Samsung did cut out. That would have, again, given the Tab S line, I think, a little bit more flair, since the Xperia Z2 does sport that. Of course, nobody's got these screens, and that's what really sets the Tab S lineup apart. Your 3.5mm headphone jack right there next to it, and the other speaker that I mentioned, you will inherently cover unless you flip the tablet over. Otherwise, that is pretty much it for design, and as I mentioned earlier, this is as good as it gets. Build quality is also solid. Apparently, something crashed there. I think it was the Play Store. And really, lag I haven't experienced a lot of. I know a lot of people are always worried with Samsung tablets. How much lag am I going to experience? I haven't seen a lot, and that's the good news. Your stock Google software suite out of the box is there. Chrome, of course, I mentioned WebEx, the remote PC. All of the software they've included I find to be useful, but there is still quite a bit of bloat because you do get the Samsung gifts now. They used to be called perks, and they're essentially free subscriptions to things like the Times, Business Week, Netflix. They give you some other services, and some of it is actually valuable. Other stuff, you won't even qualify for if you're not a new customer. Of course, there are ways of getting around that. But Home Office Viewer, easily the best piece of software included on this tablet, and that's because it does give you the true capability of Microsoft Office on the Android platform to both create Office documents as well as edit them, view them, do everything that you would expect to do with a traditional computing experience. And that's critical. As you can see, it does not come pre-installed. I have been using it on the Tab S 10.5 exclusively thus far, but the experience is going to be identical, and it's going to prove invaluable for those of you that do want to actually be productive with this tablet, whether you're a student or professional. Either way, Handcomb is essentially, at this point, an intangible when it comes to productivity, and that's why Samsung includes it. But overall, performance has been solid. I like the adjustments to software. It's a cleaner version of Flipboard, if you will, than the previous generations of the magazine UX. You can see you've got one home page or home screen for all of your basically work-oriented stuff, your calendar, your events, your schedule, and Handcomb direct access to your Office suite as well as email. Then you have basically an area for all of your content, which is great. Whether you want to use the Watch On software, go straight to your video, go to ebooks, essentially magazines, whatever you want to consume. Your side sync, quick access right there, alarm, more events for your calendar. You can add stocks as well as bookmarks for web browsing. So they give you a wide variety just in those few pages of quick access to really everything you could possibly want to do with this tablet. Then you have your traditional home screens. But again, the killer feature here is that Super AMOLED display and the fact that the hardware is still extraordinarily competent and the software has only gotten better, as I keep mentioning. The KitKat build running out of the box, I really haven't noticed any problems with. We saw a crash here, but that could happen on any device. And really, at the end of the day, the most important element of your tablet is arguably the screen. And here we have, in my opinion, the best display on any device, really, other than the 10.5 Tab S. So at the end of the day, this is, or should be, one of the most compelling features of your tablet. And Samsung has got that right. I haven't really experienced any problems with this. When it comes to battery life, it's also improved over the Tab 8.4 Pro. You're looking at closer to 8 hours than 6, which is a good thing. Keep in mind, through the course of this entire video, I have had brightness all the way up, no auto brightness. And when it comes to the menu system, Samsung has kept things fairly clean and simple, especially when compared to days past. I like what I see here, and it's there are long lists because the tablet has a tremendous amount of features. Even when it comes to the display, we have several different presets for those of you that actually want something that's going to be very color accurate as opposed to the very oversaturated experience you'll get right out of the box. You can see in terms of Wi-Fi performance, absolutely excellent. I am nowhere near my router. When I did this exact same update for the Tab 10.5, the Tab S 10.5, I did not get this same speed, but that could have been rectified had I maybe tested it one more time. And but it's staying solid right now at 468, and I am nowhere near the router. Of course, that is with the Linksys WRT 1900 AC. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, then you already know that's what I'm using. But when it comes to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth performance, I haven't seen any issues. Really, the only complaint, again, is that charging time, the fact that we don't have the USB 3.0, and could Samsung have given us a newer chip? Yes. But when it comes to day-to-day tasks, even when they do come out with the Note version of this lineup that will have the latest and greatest hardware, even beyond this, maybe 4 gigs of RAM, and still sport, even larger, possibly, Note, Wacom-enabled Super AMOLEDs, the point is that this will still be able to hang. And that's because it does have very competent hardware right now that, as I mentioned, only seems to get better with every revision of software. So a lot to like here. It is definitely the king right now of sub 10-inch tablets, no question about it. It has taken the title clean away from the Tab Pro, I should say, 8.4 before it, and that's because it really only builds upon everything that has to offer. Now, with regard to pricing, I have to say that is not in this tablet's favor. There's no question that the less expensive Tab 8.4 Pro is more compelling if budget is on your mind. And some will make the argument that the Snapdragon 800 in there, that quad-core chip, will outperform this Exynos 5, but I will tell you that in benchmarks, this Exynos 5 is outperforming that chip, but many would chalk that up to the later build, more current build of KitKat that you get out of the box. Whatever it is, the point is, at the end here, that this is going to stay relevant just because it's the beginning of what should be a wave of Super AMOLED-based devices. And we're not just talking about tablets and smartphones anymore, and that's made very clear by the 10.5-inch and 8.5-inch displays we see right here, because that is a new size that we did not have in the past. The largest to date was 7.7, and that was made by Samsung. And the last tablets were 2012. That was the Excite 7.7 and Samsung's own 7.7. So a lot to like here. It is expensive. Definitely the Tab 8.4 Pro is the more value-oriented model, since even though it doesn't have this gorgeous display, it still has one of the best displays on a sub-10-inch tablet, easily better than the iPad Retina Mini or any other sub-10-inch tablet on the market. But we've got a new standard set here by the Tab S line. And when it comes to gaming, competent gaming as well. So really, if it isn't already clear, this is the best sub-10-inch tablet. As I've said, I think this is the third, maybe the fourth time that money can buy right now. And I'll reiterate money because at $400 for 16 gigs of internal storage, it is expensive. But you do have the micro SD card slot for storage expansion. No mention of a 32 gig model stateside yet. We'll see if that's in the works. But wireless, not wireless, but radio version, in other words, LTE-enabled versions of these tablets are on the way, of both the 8.4 and 10.5. And from what I've seen overseas right now, those are actually working with the Exynos 5 chip we have here, not the Snapdragon that many had believed they would be paired with. But overall, a great device. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.